Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Misfit podcast. Today, myself and Drew are going to chat with Austin Spencer and Caroline Connors of the Northeast region.
Also, Caroline.
Yeah, whatever you want to call her is fine. We've decided. Both qualified for regionals in the Northeast region. Caroline took 5th. Austin, you took, I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm going to say 9th, 8th? 8th.
Yeah.
So both top 10, both out of our gym, our HQ. And we're going to discuss a few different parts of how they handle, or I guess what they do to handle the stresses of preparing for regionals. So both what they do before and after on a training day, and also what a rest day looks like for two that are really actually making a push to try to get to the CrossFit Games this year. Whether that happens or not, they're still preparing like they are. So I want to jump right in and just talk about, so today, you've started your first session already today.
Yep.
And so typically, do you do more than one session on a training day with this style of volume? So we have 4 pieces typically a day, and each piece is meant to be done, with some real intent and intensity. Do you typically chop it up into multiple sessions, or how do you guys handle that?
Yeah, we do at least 2 sessions a day. So we'll plan like a pretty large period of time between to eat lunch and cool down and
right in the mic.
Sorry, getting used to this.
You'll get used to it. It's all right.
Yeah, so 2 sessions. If we have to do our fasted cardio, which we do a few times a week, it's 3 sessions.
Okay.
So yeah.
The fasted cardio is obviously first because
first thing of the day before we eat anything, somewhere between 8 and 10 o'clock in the morning.
And that's not something that we've prescribed to the masses on the blog yet. Drew, do you want to talk a little bit about why you have them do fasted cardio?
Yeah. I think that it's a real challenge for people that have aspirations, beyond the open to train for both CrossFit and then regional style and game style programming. So during the year, I have, who I would consider my games hopefuls do 2 days a week of fasted cardio. Really try to push that, aerobic side, try to push that metabolic flexibility so that if, some of them are going back or some of them are trying to go for that like Cinderella season, that they're actually ready for that time domain and where that is. And one thing that's really big, we're on the topic of the rest day, is as an athlete learning to balance, your nervous system, sympathetic, parasympathetic. Like, we beat ourselves up on purpose to regrow. And one of the best things that you can do in endurance work is learn to suppress the sympathetic nervous system. And that can actually play into how you can control your mood on rest days and keep things kind of low. And, you kind of learn to have control over certain things, because if you panicked throughout your 40-minute session, you'd be in really rough shape.
Yeah, it wouldn't be very beneficial.
Would not work at all.
No.
Yeah, so part of that would be metabolic flexibility, and part of that would probably be mentally staying checked in, because it's not always the way the body responds, but how the mind responds to distance training as well, because it's very easy to feel uncomfortable even if your body's physically capable of getting the task done, but you want every out you can think of to get out of continuing to move. So something you guys do twice a week, you said?
It's 3 times during regionals prep.
Oh, during regionals
3,
prep.
yep.
But before this, it was twice a week?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We started at 20 minutes on one machine, worked our way up to 40, and then added the second machine, same thing, started at 20, went up to 40. And it's actually kind of crazy how much easier the 40 minutes is now, when there were like the 20, the 25, the 30 were like some of the hardest days just to push through, just because you're sitting like on a rower for so long. But it's gotten a lot easier now that we've been like 8 weeks in or something of doing this.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
More than that.
And one thing that's really cool is, this is something that I've had China and Sam doing for a long time, but with you two, you can probably speak, that's sort of their wheelhouse. I think you two can speak a little bit more to what type of change it actually made in you guys in not that long a period of time.
Oh yeah, I noticed a huge difference, like mostly for me with the rowing one. The more 40-minute sessions I had on that, the more comfortable I got on it. And I'm not usually like an endurance guy in Metcons or anything like that, especially if the rower is involved. So I've just gotten so comfortable on that, and now when I see it in Metcons or anything like that, it doesn't faze me anymore. I'm super comfortable. I know exactly what kind of pace I can hold, when I can push, when I need to back off. It's been really, really beneficial. And you don't have to you have to focus, but you don't have to try that hard doing that.
I think 18.1 is where I was noticed a big difference. Like holding a certain pace on the rower for as many rounds as we were doing was not easy, but way easier than.
And maybe it was just as hard physically, but it was easier on you mentally. You were able to settle into the movement, which is something we talk about all the time. Is such an important skill for CrossFitters.
Yeah, I mean it's basically, if you think about it in the simplest terms, at worst, it's a very extended version of the weakness warm-ups we do, but it's extremely extended. Worst case scenario, that's all it is. Best case scenario, you're talking about all these different adaptations that you might be making along the way that would translate into other parts of your game. So, I mean, as long as, and I'm speaking to kind of everyone who would be doing regionals prep or training in general, as long as the athlete didn't feel like that sort of thing was taking away significantly from training in CrossFit, would you guys recommend it to other people?
Yeah, I've actually started giving it to a few of my clients once a week, especially on something that they struggle with. Like I have a few that aren't great rowers, so I tell them fasted is preferred, but for a lot of people they work full-time jobs and stuff. So I'm like, if you can one day a week on your rest day or something, start with 20 minutes. We've been adding 5 minutes each time, and they've liked it so far. So really anyone can use that as a good active recovery day too.
If you have the mindset you want to get better at things and you want to get better at it, then I think it's a lot easier. But if there's somebody that's I really don't want to do this every single week, that's just not there, then I think.
So, okay, let's talk about that really quick. So we know of somebody, and we won't say this individual's name. This person likes to do their fasted cardio at a very low heart rate while watching movies and text messaging. And do you think that is still somewhat beneficial to at least pedal a bike for 40 minutes, even if it's almost it is in a recovery mode type of pace? Would you guys find any sort of benefit in that? Or do you think that the more elevated heart rate and focused pace is what's actually making the difference for you guys?
I think there's still benefit to it. I mean, at least you're moving and your joints are, getting warmed up a little bit as you go. But it's if you're not focusing on the task, it's there's so much you're missing out on from that. And I think if you're going to be there for 40 minutes, you might as well focus on it and make it worthwhile in every aspect rather than just moving your limbs around.
Personally, I found that the biggest way to avoid training the things you don't like is to distract yourself while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And that does not make you better.
No.
When I started doing distance runs, I'd intentionally leave my music at home. My music was how I learned how to run, because I would run to a pace, run to a beat, and it would keep me kind of moving. You hear a good song, all of a sudden you get a kick in your step and you get to keep going. When you take it out and you start to hear yourself breathe and have to focus on your pace and focus on everything, that's a whole nother skill set that you start to develop, how to deal with that. And there's music on the regionals floor, but are you really hearing that when you're in the heat of battle?
Not at all.
Hell no. So if you don't understand kind of how to focus on the task, both training and competing, I think it's an issue. So the movies, I mean, in recovery mode, fine. But in training mode, I think that the distractions are a negative, and they take away from your experience and show that you don't really want it maybe as much as you think you might want it.
So I think an important question is, do you guys take one true rest day a week?
Yeah.
Do you still do that? Mm-hmm. Are you able to do that, Caroline? You try? I know your schedule is challenging.
Not really. I mean, on that, the true rest day, I'm still doing the fasted cardio.
Okay. So my question is, for you, Austin, do you still do that flush? Because that's sort of what we've prescribed to people for years. At least on one of your rest days, get on a bike, get on a rower, go for a hike, go for a walk. And that actually is that, in beats per minute, 120 or less, where you could just chat the whole time, that kind of thing. Is that still something that you use?
Not every time. I definitely, one day is usually my fasted cardio. The other day is more mobility and just stretching and full recovery type of day. And it's usually one of those days where I'm pretty tired and I'm here in the morning.
Yeah.
So I try to get out of the gym for the day. it's a lot easier in the summer. Like we'll go walk the dogs or something like that when the weather's nicer.
That's
And-
my perfect scenario for
Yeah.
people. That true exit from the
Yeah,
gym,
like
get some
that's-
sunshine, get
That's
some
like
fresh
my
air.
biggest
like,
goal is to
yeah.
get out of the gym
Yeah.
on at least one rest day. So if we can get outside, that's my rest day. Just walking around, being in the woods, mountain biking usually, something like that. So
Yeah, you can go ahead and stay off the fucking mountain
wheelies.
bike during regional prep.
no more wheelies.
Be nice if it was warm and you guys could just jump in the pool and swim around.
Yeah,
that would be
right.
like an ideal, like perfect scenario. But
Yeah.
so people in warmer climate can take advantage of something like that. All right, let's chat about the topic that we try to avoid a little bit here, other than on the Misfit Project podcast. Is what are you guys doing for food right now? Has anything changed with your nutrition? And you can speak about the tests you've taken
Yeah.
and everything else. Like, I think it's all valuable stuff that you guys have learned over the past couple months. And how has that changed, or has it changed now that the style of training is a little bit different? What do you think?
You can start.
Okay. So over like the last year or so, like I'm still pretty strict on like what I eat. If I have like, I don't know, cheat day, if you want to call it that, I still work around it, and it's usually only
So let's be
like-
more specific for people who like details. Are you talking, when you say strict, are we talking quality, quantity?
both.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd like the whole fit your macros thing. Like I won't eat like a thing of Pop-Tarts just because it works in there. I usually just eat like really good quality food, vegetables, not really anything like sugary cereals that see people eat on Instagram and all that crap.
Really? You see that on Instagram? That's crazy.
Lay's chips.
And so, yeah, like I said, if there is like a cheat in there or whatever, like I want some Sour Patch Kids or chocolate or whatever, I still try to work around it. Mostly just for my my sanity. It would bother me if I know like I still went over my carbs or my fat or whatever and ate whatever I wanted to. So, over the last like 2 months almost, I have completely cut out 28 foods.
And why?
Because
Why have you done that?
I was having a lot of inflammation, mostly like in my shoulders. So Drew had suggested that I take an allergy, so like food sensitivity test, to see if that had anything to do with it. And ironically, it did. I think after 2 weeks of cutting out
I don't think that's what that word means, but keep going.
what? What did I say?
Ironically.
It's not ironic. It makes perfect
Well,
sense.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of irony. Keep going.
You know what I meant. After cutting out like all dairy, eggs, wheat, gluten, which I
Flounder.
didn't really have much of anyways. Certain nuts, macadamia nuts, Brazil nuts, almonds, I couldn't eat any of that. After like 2 weeks, my shoulders felt like there was nothing wrong with them. Inflammation went down. I mean, there's still like, I did get it looked at and there's stuff wrong with it, but I noticed it a lot less now. And I think that had a huge part.
But your body, when you're training through that, is not having the same aggressive response as it did when you were eating the foods that were adding to that response. And you think that the timing of cutting those foods out for a period of time and having this new feeling in your shoulders, it's pretty easy for you to rationalize that that's likely the cause or part of the cause?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
So
I mean,
what-
the
Go ahead.
lingering effect of, shoulder intensive workouts and all that stuff is not nearly as bad as it had been. I'm still doing a lot of like shoulder stuff, like rehab and all that, but it's like I can sleep without waking up. I can move when I wake up.
And we kept your food numbers the same.
Yep.
And you were like, you looked different in a pretty short period of time. I mean, inflammation has a way of, retaining water, and it's just kind of an important thing to note. A lot of people sometimes think that it's just that calories in, calories out situation.
Right.
But when you're in a catabolic state so often, like a CrossFitter is, it's easy to create that inflammation, and it actually shows.
And people think like you look at somebody's stomach and they don't have as defined of abs as they either once had or want, and they think it's belly fat. But
Right.
a lot of times it's not belly fat at all. It's literally trying to get your body back to where it's trying to be and get rid of the puffiness that builds up. So
It
it's
was a pretty
so-
crazy difference. I
yeah.
think,
Did you lose weight?
yeah, like 8 pounds.
Okay.
And I kept like my numbers were the same.
Probably
Training
feel
was the
better.
same. Like even during the open, volume wasn't as high as normal, so it's not like I was training extra.
So you probably had
like
less
that.
of a deficit and lost 8 pounds.
Yeah.
Yep. So what are you left with to eat? You named everything that everyone that's watching
Yeah.
eats on a daily basis. What the hell can you even eat?
So my breakfast is pretty much the same every day. I'll have sausage cut up with like kale and coconut oil in a pan with some broccoli, cauliflower, avocado.
Damn.
It's really good.
I believe
it's
it.
honestly
It's
better
really
than I
good,
thought it was
yeah.
going to be.
It's like essentially you guys are all now making scrambles without eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
You
You still
so
throw all the
sad.
stuff in the
It's
pan
so
that
sad.
you would before you threw the eggs down in.
Yeah.
Austin still
and
gets to
then
have cheese, though.
like
Yeah, dude.
yeah, he can still have cheese.
A lot of it.
I can't have whey or anything, so I had to get like beef protein, which is still good. It's fine.
So it sounds like the majority of your calories will have to come from fats and limited fats because you've now cut out nuts. It's basically fats from meats. It
Yeah,
sounds
well, I
like,
can
for the
still
most
have
part.
cashews and like pistachios
Okay.
and pecans.
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 Candied pecans.
But like we both used to eat macadamia nuts like it was our job.
Yeah, they're
and
awesome.
So good.
Neither of us can have them anymore.
More for me.
Yeah,
Cashew
and
butter is
sugar.
actually really good.
Cashews are the best.
Is it
So
expensive?
expensive though.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
was
just gonna
12
say.
bucks for a 12-ounce jar.
Oh, well. Sacrifices we make.
Yeah, it's worth it. I
Well,
mean,
some of us.
even
I'm on the peanut butter train.
so it's supposed to be like a 3-month period that you take everything out, but I'm like not sure if I want to add things back in now. I have to
Well,
I have to think about that.
just to say, for anybody that doesn't know what this is, essentially you're talking about an autoimmune situation where your body confuses proteins that are leaked into your bloodstream from eating a food that look like the proteins that make up your shoulder, your knee, your wrist. Your people have it in different spots, and your body actually is attacking those and attacks the wrong parts as well. So we've noticed that it happens a lot with people that have like a really strict diet that eat the same things over and over
Right.
and over and over. So Max was eating 6 to 12 or something eggs a day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it might not be a situation where Max is actually has like a hereditary like allergic reaction to those things. It could just be that egg whites are a highly allergenic food, just like a lot of the spices that you guys react to, dairy, whey, all these different things. So he might need to cut that out and then put it back in. So that's how you find that out. So you can add things back in, but the problem is if you notice something, then you should probably keep it out.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the things Manea said too, was to like cycle on and off. Like once that 3-month period is over, you can like cycle on and off of it just so you make sure that you're
Right.
still developing those enzymes and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the test done 18 months ago now. I was off the charts allergic to eggs and slightly allergic to milk.
Yeah.
The milk protein. And I pulled both eggs and milk out for 9 months completely and then started to add milk back in and then tested egg again and then got retested. So I've had the food allergy test done again. And I'm still off the charts allergic to egg even without having it much at all for 18 months now. So clearly I have an issue with eggs.
Right.
Milk is completely back to zero. So I was basically, like he said, just putting cheese on everything, drinking milk at night because I have an issue getting my calories in. I just undereat. That's just how I am. And, if I can scoop a whole thing of sour cream on top of one nacho, I will. Like, that's how I ate for years and years and years. It is. It's the best. But it caught up to me. And then I took it back and kind of reset. And now I can not quite do it again, but I can have that stuff back in my life
Here
a
and
little
there,
bit.
yeah.
So you had a similar test. What is your situation? Just briefly.
So yeah, she took hers like a month before I did.
You didn't.
Like that.
You didn't want to because you
Yeah.
were like, "Don't you take
I was
this stuff away
afraid.
from
I
me."
was
hurts.
honestly afraid to do it
Yeah.
because, like, for the most part, I feel fine. Like, I didn't have like a lot of the achiness that she has, like, a little bit hips, a little bit back, stuff like that. So I was like, going into regionals, why not? Like, go all in and try it out. So yeah, I had egg sensitivity, both egg whites and egg yolks. I think yolks were worse. And then macadamia nuts, which is another thing I eat every day. Some spices and stuff like that you said. I was good to have any dairy and whey, so that was pretty helpful in terms of what I cut out. So those are the big ones that really mattered.
When did you cut that stuff out? Or have you?
About a week ago. Yeah, not long ago.
Has there been a noticeable difference? And if there hasn't, there hasn't. If there has,
Yeah, so far I
There's
feel
been a couple of accidents.
Eating the wrong things.
yeah, on accident. So
I was
apparently,
like, couple of accidents.
Yeah, I didn't know where we were going with that
Shitting his
either.
pants
Yeah.
on his new diet.
I know.
one accident. There was
He thought he lucked out with this
Yeah.
with this granola type cereal.
there's a grain apparently called amaranth that I've never heard of in my life, and skipped over that in my list because I was like, who eats that? Whatever. And I found this like gluten-free granola because I really like cereal, so I was just gonna like put some coconut milk on it.
Giant letters in the front.
That happened to
with
me.
Amaranth
Yeah.
and flaxseed.
It was like amaranth. Like
But I'm like, you can't eat that.
I thought she was joking, but apparently I can't have it, so I have to like bring it back to the store.
You actually, it's weird. You have to start like reading labels like super carefully.
Oh, I
because
know.
I did it years ago and I was off the charts for teff, which is in a lot of gluten-free like substitute type stuff. And I would wonder why, like every once in a while, this blend or whatever would make me sick, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Well, it does make sense, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it was stuff that I
Safflower
hadn't heard
and
of.
sunflower oil are in absolutely everything. So I have to look at labels of things that I wouldn't think that I had
So is black
have to
pepper.
look at, like
Everything.
cashew butter.
That's a
I have to
bummer.
go
Black
to
pepper
It's hard.
like Whole Foods to get one specific brand because everything else has
You probably have to get that fresh ground stuff, right?
Yeah.
And right in
where
the
it's
Can't you just buy
Yeah.
cashews and put it in a food processor?
basically
I don't know how to
that's
do
what Whole Foods does. They have it in like a giant
you can
thing.
do it
ha-
there.
You press the
I
button
mean, do
and
you
it
have a
turns
food
into-
processor? The thing that it's like clear dome and it's got the thing you put the stuff in.
I have a juicer.
Chops at the bottom.
No,
Nope,
don't
that-
put those in a juicer.
Whoa,
Don't do that.
That would be weird.
Juice cashews.
But yeah, it's
That's how
literally
you make almond
just
milk.
No,
and
it's
stuff,
not.
right?
it's essentially a blender.
Almond juice.
Delicious.
There's a difference.
Yes, there is. Okay, so you guys, you feel like you've got your food and everything figured out,
Yeah.
and you both work. Both of you work mornings a lot of times, right? And then you have kind of your job. You have coaching hours, but you also are both remote coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You also both have other responsibilities for the gyms and Misfit that don't necessarily fit into a set amount of hours. You do them when you can. How does that affect both your free time, so your decompression period where you could do whatever it is that you guys want to do that would allow you to kind of, stay excited about training and everything else, and then, of course, your time to sleep, your sleep window. So how are you able to balance A, training, B, work, and then C, your free time and sleep? And I know it's been a challenge for you guys, so what have
Yeah.
you done to try to make that a priority?
So, I mean, it's one of those things like, we talk about it a lot where like if you're trying to be a professional athlete or something like that, you spend more time outside of the gym than you do in the gym, and it matters what you do out there. And it helps to have somebody hold you accountable, which is kind of what we do for each other. So, we're making sure that we can both like get the sleep that we need by helping make each other's food, since we eat pretty similar stuff every day. So if I'm coaching and she's home, she can make my food for the next day and vice versa. So we're doing a lot of that for each other. That one rest day that I really try to get out of the gym is like a big like reset for the next week. Like it helps me get excited to be back in the gym after that. But yeah, I mean, it's really...
That's an important thing for you to say, though, because people from the outside looking in, you're a gym rat.
Yeah.
And they want to be able to reverse engineer, like, how are these two able to work so hard all the time and not get burnt out?
Yeah.
And for you to say that you do that on purpose, you get out of the gym, you spend a whole day trying to, like, sort of clear that out, I think is really important. Because, again, a lot of people want to know, like, how do you guys do this over and over and
Right.
over and over?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it takes. I mean, you guys are gifted, but without that work,
Right.
doesn't really add
Gifted
up.
to an extent, but yeah, it's 90% the work.
Yeah, it's definitely taken some time to like dial everything into. Like we had to figure out on our own pretty much like when we could, get the food together, like make sure like, laundry's done and stuff like that. So we can actually, when we're done coaching, we can go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
Like if we waited to get home from work, we'd be up till 10:30 getting everything together for the next day, because once we leave the house, we're gone all day. So if we don't plan ahead, we don't sleep essentially.
Yep.
And we both get up pretty early. So that's pretty important, making sure like sleep is everything. Like if it's not about like what I'm eating, like I have to get like 7.5 hours of sleep or I'm screwed.
So you guys have basically developed
I wish.
For those who may not know, the two fittest people in Maine are also been dating for over a year. 2 years, over 2 years now.
Yeah.
So like, there's definitely pros to that, as you just talked about. You guys have developed kind of a system or schedule to help each other out, keep each other accountable. You know, if someone needs a shift covered or help with something, you guys can do that because you work in the same field as well. However, is there ever a downfall to that where you just don't want to talk about training anymore, or you don't, and someone else is having a bad day, and now you have to be that support system for them when you really fucking need to decompress, but they're not going to let you because they're having a rough time?
Right.
Does that ever happen, and how do you guys deal with that?
It definitely happened during the Open a little bit, and it does kind of go back and forth. Like 18-1 for her was a little bit more stressful just because it's the first Open workout. So, you know, her dad wants to know what's going on, her mom wants to know what's going on, my mom wants to know what's going on, and I'm trying to help her like calm down, and she doesn't want any of it. She wants to be left alone. But then we have to go coach and turn everything around, so that's pretty tough. But on the flip side, it happened to me for 18-4. Like, just completely the other way around, and it's the same thing again. Like, her dad wants to know how I did and how she did, and seriously, but like at the same time, like, I don't know, I don't know.
I have a really hard time like talking about things when I am like upset about something. I don't talk to anybody. I don't want to. I deal with it in my own head, and he kind of knows that. So like when I get home and I see my dad and he's like, "So how'd it go?" Big smile on his face. I'm like, "Yeah," and then I just walk away, and then he takes care of it.
She'll literally walk into the other room and he'll be like, "So how'd it go?" I'm like, not good. Like, you might want to leave her alone until tomorrow. He's like, okay.
And I feel like I feel so bad because I can't like hide my feelings, and I just like sometimes I just need to be left alone when it comes to stuff like that. And he knows that, so he can deal with it. And then like on the flip side, when that like 18-4 happened, and like at this point I kind of know I'm not going to be up in his face, and you know, so why didn't you do this? Why'd you put the bar down? Why can't you deadlift? Blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
all
shit.
this other stuff.
I don't know why.
She didn't say it. She didn't say it during 18-4, but she said it during this podcast anyways.
So there really hasn't been like, there's no negative to it, I don't think. We work really well together, and it's actually been like helpful.
Good.
And I think, you know, for people listening to this podcast that are trying to like relate to this situation, to me, it's about how many people are in that little group that you have, you know, with the training partners. Because there was a period of time right before the Open where I could tell you guys were both going through separate things, but it seems together, like joined together, because you train together, spend so much time together. And for some reason, Max was in the gym a bunch more 1 week right before, I don't know if it was weather or what, right before the Open.
Yeah.
And the mood was way different, completely different. Like, he took on the role of like, how you guys doing? How you guys doing? Like, you know, whatever. And it just completely, just like the air was let out completely. And I know that like Sherb is part of that a little bit, and Gabe's part of that a little bit when they can be. But, you know, you guys support each other. But when it's the whole like crew, it seems to be someone can take all of these different roles. Like, you can walk into the gym and just sort of see there's tension in the gym today. So like, who can change that? Who can, you know, crack a joke or, you know.
And that's always
laugh uncontrollably.
That's always Max. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the tribe thing is pretty big. Like, just having people you can reach out to when you're away from the gym and you need somebody else to talk to or whatever, like that definitely helps, whether you're in and out of the gym. So yeah, having other connections is good.
So the point of this entire discussion was to try to provide perspective for other people who are in similar situations, obviously not the same, but similar situations, training for regionals, trying to make a games push, whatever. If you could have one bit of advice for somebody who is in a similar situation as you, as far as what the best thing they could do outside of the gym, either on a training day, rest day, whatever, what's the one thing that you would advise them to do that you can't basically live without?
I would honestly try to reach out to somebody that can like work on your body for you, like in any way, whether it's a chiropractor. Like, deep tissue, something like that. Like the first few years that I started doing CrossFit and started getting competitive in it, I didn't do anything. Like try to do my own mobility, but like there's only so much you can do, and there's stuff that you don't even realize that you need to work on because other things like kind of take over. So that's one of the biggest changes we've made recently is like we've kind of gotten some help from outside sources that are really like, that's another part of the rest day now is like making sure that we have people helping us, you know, move well and stay comfortable and recover. So yeah, I think that'd be pretty big.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's big for me too, because I don't even train hard. Just want to stay like in one piece for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you can't steal his answer.
Yeah,
It probably would have been yours too. So now you got to come up with a new one. What's yours?
No, I would agree with that, but I mean, it's hard when we spend all of our time in the gym to like come up with a good answer. But like on Sundays, I have my kids class, and my niece is involved in that. And yes, it is still CrossFit, but it's a little different. So having something to focus on that's not me, like helping the kids do, you know, their thing, and then being able to spend time with my niece and my parents and do some stuff outside of the gym with them, even if it's at home, I think is important. Getting your mind off of what, you know, you're doing every single day and kind of putting your focus on something else, like spending time with family.
And what's good is there's science behind that. There's a lot of science behind the hormones that you release when you help other people. It just goes back to being in a tribal setting. It's, you know, essentially the same kind of thing that's released when you, you know, we always talk about cold therapy or hot therapy or all these things. Like you have reward systems built in to make you feel better, so you do them, so you stay alive, kind of a thing. So, you know, some people that listen to a podcast and hear, you know, focus your energy on other people, help other people, they might, you know, be like, oh, cool, you want me to go to, you know, yoga class too and, you know, meditate by the river? And my answer would be yes to both of those things.
Yeah, sure.
It's nice to know that there's like a scientific reason for that.
Yeah. It's cool. I mean, watching little kids run around and try to put PVC pipes in, you know, overhead and do overhead squats, and it's really cool. It's fun.
I think people just need to remember that there is limited hours in a day. And if we could carve out the perfect training day and recovery session after training and activity at night to perfect sleep schedule and food's ready on time and then your perfect rest day, that would be great. But in a real world setting, how often does that happen? Never. Right? Not just for you guys, but for anyone. There's never perfect scenarios. So, I mean, we try to put that rest day template out on the website for everyone to take a look at on rest days. And the thing is like a mile long. It gives you like 1,000 options because all these things are super beneficial. You just have to know how to, like, when and how to apply them.
Yeah, prioritize
them. And then the things that Drew speaks about on the Misfit Project podcast, like you want to try to incorporate those things as they apply to you. But again, like limited hours and limited resources of how you can actually focus on these things you need to apply to your life to improve them. So even if you're outside the gym and you're not working on training, you're still working to do these other tasks, or you're still making time to visit your family or teach your CrossFit Kids class or whatever. So it's always going to be a constant evolving, I don't want to call it a struggle, but a process, I guess is a better word for it, that if you're not super committed to it, it's easy to get burned out on everything that needs to be done regularly. So I think you guys have developed a really good system. It's clearly working, and it's been working over now 2 years. Thank you for correcting me. But the progress you guys have made in the last, 3 to 4 leading up to this point is pretty crazy. I mean, walking in off the street to do CrossFit, and now you're two fittest people in Maine by far, and real shot at making it to the highest stage this year. So things are headed in the right direction.
For sure.
Any last words?
Yeah, I think that there's always a challenge when you talk about certain topics with relatability. So like when I say mindfulness and I don't try to find a way to connect it for people to what could be part of their actual life, and they just think of, again, the person sitting cross-legged in the forest, like as an athlete, you have to be able to balance, again, when you're recovering and when you're beating your body down. And you guys have incorporated mindfulness in a lot of places without knowing it because your body needs it so bad. So these rest days, these, situations where you're trying to walk outside, where you're teaching class, where you're doing fasted cardio, like you're learning how to work with your nervous system intuitively. And I think that's an important gateway into this conversation for athletes, to find a way for themselves to be relatable. Like the easiest one literally is you get on the assault bike with a heart rate monitor, you do a sprint, and you see how long it takes you to get your heart rate below 120, and you go again. And that would be the easiest way for someone to get into mindfulness. Like type A personality, someone that says I can't meditate, which just means you can't sit still for 20 minutes. I think that's really important, because if we just sit up here and say you need to do this and you need to do that and you need to download this app and you need to turn the lights off at this time, people are going to be like, don't tell me what to do. That sounds way different than what I do. But you guys are doing all of these things that would be considered mindfulness because it just brings everything down and lets you actually recover. Because otherwise you wouldn't recover. There'd be no way to recover with everything that you do, especially.
Last words from you two before we wrap this up.
I don't know.
Feel pretty exposed at this point? Gave away all your secrets to the rest of all the misfitters around the world.
Now they all know.
Now they know what you guys are doing up here. Yeah.
Just work really hard.
It's not BEDs. It's a lot of hard
Definitely
work.
Definitely not. Can't afford those.
So true.
We don't make much money doing this.
Shh, quiet.
Hey, we're all making a ton of money here.
Yeah.
I'm rich.
Everyone thinks we're rich too. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you took something from that, and keep training. We'll see you next time.